Hello, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Women's Rugby Pod. I'm Johnny Hammond alongside World Cup winner Rachel Burford. How are we doing, Burf?
I'm good. I'm good to be back.
Yeah.
Gave you a little respite.
Yeah, nice. Great to have you back on the field, on the pod. We had some, I don't know, not quite sure who she was, but filling in the last couple of weeks. But great to have you back. And we've got, another bumper show. Why not? It's the Six Nations. We've got not only one, but three guests again this week. Looking ahead to Super Saturday, of course. We'll look back at a bumper round of Premier 15's results. Burf was back. And all in the company of England lock Zoe Aldcroft, Helen Nelson from Scotland, and Edel McMahon from Ireland. So how have you been then, Burf? Missed us? You've been on your camps doing your thing with young players out there, but got a bit of a suntan got going there. You look very well.
Yeah, I got a bit of a glow back, haven't I? Literally just after getting back out there playing one game. No, it's been a really busy couple of weeks with the Girls Rugby Club camps. It's like over 200 girls we've been coaching, so it's been incredible to be back out the pitch. Just hearing that, like, as soon as you turn up and they start chatting and laughing, it's just nice. And I'm sure lots of people are hearing that now back at the rugby clubs on Sunday mornings and hearing all the laughters. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely joyous. And you in the quarters, how nice to get back out there. But glad to have you back out there because it was a young old team you went out to Worcester with.
Yeah, we had quite an inexperienced side, young, couple of debuts, a few people playing that position. But yeah, it was just so great personally to be back out there earlier than expected. So really, really great for that. And the players really stepped up against a really tough Worcester side. And it's so good for the quarters, the fact that we've got some strength and depth. And it was a great opportunity for Gerard to be able to have a look at a few players with all what's coming on in the next few weeks. So yeah, it was really, really good day out, and obviously the sun was shining, so that makes things always better.
100%. Yeah, we will have a little look back at those results later on in the show. We're going to deal with the international news and stuff first, but good to have you back. Sarah Hunter was in the chair the last couple of weeks. Presumably you've listened. She was good, wasn't she?
Of course she was. That's why we got her in. We knew that she'd absolutely smash it. I did tell her don't do too well because I might not get the seat back. But no, how cool.
Yeah, she's not available this week.
So. I managed to sneak back in.
No, indeed. So no, it was great to have Sunta on the pod, but equally nice to have you back on the WRP because we haven't spoken to you and got your kind of thoughts. The Six Nations so far. Give us and you can go wherever you like with it. Your initial thoughts on the Six Nations on and off the field so far.
I think off field, I think we've seen a lot of really positive engagement. Loving all the social media stories that they're trying to ramp up and give us more of an insight to player profiles. I think that's been brilliant. I think Fantasy League has been awesome. I think it's been such a talking point instead of just out the weekend. It continues into the week. So again, more fan engagement, more buzz around it. I think people are learning more about players in each team as opposed to just the few familiar faces that you might know. And the way people are performing is also making their names known, which is amazing. So I think, off pitch has been relatively good. There's obviously some chat around red button and what's being played on the channel whilst the games are on, which has been something that has upset a lot of people really in terms of what's being played instead of an international women's game. But I think on pitch we've seen lots of quality at times from all teams, but I think there still is the clear and obvious of people talking about amateur versus professional. The score lines haven't been a great reflection on it, but these are things that aren't new really, and it's we're still in that same sort of area, but in its own window. I'm loving that fact. I'm loving that it's not part not lost within the men's tournament, but that it's standing on its own. It's got its own windows. The timings are great, being able to watch the games. So, yeah, I think, look, there's so many good things that we can talk about. But like anything, there's always areas that need improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on most of that. I think, but you look at the top 14 results, the men's French league results, you'll have 60-odd point to nil. Yeah, in those, the Premiership, sides getting stuff 60, 50, 60, 70. So, it does happen. But obviously it's intensified with that. I just wanted to make one thing clear because, yes, I had a little rant last week. And actually somebody got in touch, a lady who's heavily invested in the women's game, and just said, I thought it was a little bit unfair, saying that people didn't care and what have you. I just wanted to make it very, very clear. My comments last week were about what the Six Nations themselves are putting out. And I've been in broadcasting a long time, and I know what is achievable within budgets and what have you. And I think Ali Donnelly's Conqueens did a little something on it last week, and that's sort of roundup of the week. For me, it's not good enough to just get it out there. It's got to be done in a quality way, and that was my point last week. If all you're doing in the week, and I agree, there is more social media, but you're doing an Instagram live, it's free, and you're getting players to dig out a load of old photographs and do a voiceover into their phone. That's not high quality broadcasting, and that's not putting effort and energy into it, and it could be. And again, with the halftime and pre and post, we do it on the Allianz Premier 15s every single week. If the BBC want to put a presentation on it, they've got to do a new truck. So and I get that, because it's a world feed and BBC feed's different. It's getting boring. But there is more that can be done with it, and that's where my frustration lies. Is the fact that there isn't. Seems to be that care and attention and I could give you lots and lots of other stories behind the scenes of what's the stuff I'm involved in, that it just not enough thoughts given to it for whatever reason. So I just wanted to quantify that. The BBC have picked this up for next to nothing, and they're showing it, and fair play to them. When I was at Sky, we used to get criticised all the time. Oh, it's on Sky, I can't watch it as terrestrial TV. It was at least Sky were televising it. It's the same with the BBC now. At least they're televising it. Nobody else is stumping up. So, no, fair play to the BBC. Could you put it on the front channel? Yeah, possibly. But, remember, we're only 10 days from the tournament when it was announced. A huge broadcast out of BBC trying to fit things together. It's very, very difficult. So, I understand that, contracts and stuff were signed very, very, very late indeed. So, there's those sort of blame for the BBC. We just got to put it out there, correctly, because the play on the field is bloody brilliant. So, that's the first time I said bloody on the pod in 92 episodes. Beep. Look, my argument, as always, and I'll stop another rant now. We've got to match what you guys are putting out on the field, and if we don't, we're doing you a disservice. And it doesn't happen at the moment. Saracens' pictures from the weekend look like they're playing on an ice rink. It's an adjustment in the camera because it's sunny. It's and it looks awful. It's just tiny little things like that, which it's so easy to fix. Anyway, enough of the ranting and raving and quantifying what we're saying and what have you. Hashtag we care, because we're doing this every week, so we're okay. Look, let's get straight into the Six Nations. Let's go on then.
I was going to say we should have like a weekly segment where you can just have a little rant.
Johnny's rant,
yeah.
But
no, don't do it. But Six Nations news.
It's so infuriating, Burf, because I know how easy it is to do, and there's lots of people out there offering to do it for next to nothing. Volunteers are doing this kind of stuff anyway. So that's what gets me. These closed shops, organisations that won't take help or assistance from other places. It's really weird. Anyway, as you say, Six Nations Super Saturday. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Unbelievable Saturday ahead of us. We've got Italy against Ireland, 2:00, BBC iPlayer. England against France, 2:00 on BBC Two. terrestrial, BBC Two, and then Scotland and Wales at 5 o'clock. That's on BBC Two Scotland and the iPlayer as well. But let's start with that sort of grand final game and get a lady who performs incredibly well, doesn't she? She's back from injury now, back in that England shirt, and is quite some player. It's Zoe Aldcroft on the WRP. Well, it is an absolute pleasure and a treat to have. I was just saying to Burf earlier, Zoe, that we like coaches, we like to pick on form, those to come in on the pod, and I think it's very, very safe to say that you are banging form after a very, very long layoff. Congratulations on the 2 wins so far. Good to be back out there with the rose back on the chest.
Yeah, definitely. Always. Like, whenever I get injured, I absolutely hate it. So whenever I can come back, that's always the best feeling.
See her face light up straight away then.
Yeah.
What is it you particularly love then, Zoe, about playing?
I just love like the high tempo of playing for England, like the decision making side of things. Like, it's just like an extra step up from. I obviously love playing for club also, but like playing for the country, it's just like that level.
What's been the sort of feedback after those first 2 games, Zoe? I know lots been said about this PPP and playing at real tempo and mids barking away and all the rest as we know he can. What's been the review so far, and what are the things we must get better at for this weekend?
So obviously going into the Six Nations, we've been doing these PPP sessions that have been like the next level sort of thing. So going into the games, we've wanted to take that level of training into these games, and I think we have obviously the first game, the first half was what we wanted, and then the second half we kind of like dropped off a little bit. So then we spoke about going into Italy, having that whole 80 minutes performance, but then I think the first half we didn't quite get out the blocks as soon as we wanted to, but then in the second half we sort of got a little bit shouted at half time, and like we're stuck in that second half and like kind of got the result we wanted to. So I think obviously France is where we need to put in the full 80-minute performance, and that's what we've been talking about this whole entire week. So right from the get-go, we want to be absolutely putting pressure on them from the start and right through to the full 80 minutes.
Who had the hairdryer out?
Sorry, I don't know what that
means. who had the hairdryer out at half time in that when you were told off? Was it Mids or Mark or Scott or just all 3 of them?
I think maybe you can guess, but I think Mids.
Do you want to say?
Yeah, no.
I would say Mid.
I mean, we did need it.
How much are you, Zoe? How much are you enjoying? Well, we'll get back to France in a sec. How much are you enjoying? I mean, I know Burf and I have spoken before on this pod today about that battle for back 5 places. You know, you started at 6 in that first game against Scotland. I mean, you look at the options in and around those positions. You know, Ward, O'Donnell, Mills. You got Marley, you got Sunter, you got Fleetwood. You know, all in that back 5 area. I'm sure I missed a couple of people off there. But how much are you enjoying that competition? Does it? I suspect the stock media answer is going to be, "Oh yeah, well it all spurs us on to get better." But genuinely, like in the cold, dark moments by yourself in your hotel room, right? I'm going to get her in training tomorrow because she was just a bit too good. Come on, be honest.
I think for me, it's just like genuine. This is genuine. That I think it's just about every time I go on the pitch, making sure I'm the best, and then that kind of creates its own sort of competition with obviously the girls, because they're obviously going out wanting to be their best, and then yeah.
But do you share ideas? You know, I think we all know Abby Ward. You know, her very much. She's a line out Norse, and that's very much a compliment. But do you share those ideas? Does she come to you and say, "Well, why don't you do that in that situation? You might do the same in certain other situations."
Yeah, definitely. I think like when we're actually training, we're always inputting to each other how we can make it better for the team, because that's obviously our main goal, to be the best team in the world. So we're always having that small chat, especially in the line-outs, like those little tiny details that are so important in there. We're always reflecting back on those, seeing what each individual person in that line-out can do better to make the whole team better. So even though we are in competition with each other, kind of like forwards is like working as a team anyway, so it's really important that we do get those things right, so then you can be the best in the world, if that makes sense, because if one person gets something wrong, then you can't do your best. So you need that competition to be the best team, if that makes sense.
What about when you do PPP, and who are the forwards that get feisty and get into each other a little bit on the pitch?
Marley.
Poppy.
Sorry, Poppy. Yeah.
To be honest, when you're in that PvP position, I think everyone gives it a go. Like you just got your head stuck in somewhere, and yeah, the refs don't help.
Is it Amy Turner that's refereeing, or is it?
It's changed now. It's changed now. It's got worse.
Since Amy's left.
Joe, where do you prefer playing?
I mean, Six the other week was the first time I've ever really played there, and I absolutely loved it. I'm gonna go Six.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So is that something you're looking at for future?
To
be in that position? And is this because of how loose you are, like how good you are in the loose? Sorry, not how loose you are. How good you are. Well,
she is loose, listeners. She is loose.
Yeah, let's not go there. That's for a different type of pod. No, just is that kind of the thinking behind it?
Yeah, so obviously I do love running in that loose, and I love to be able to get off the scrum quickly, and I think that is part of the reason why I did love it so much. I just felt a bit more freer. I don't know if that's like actually how I was supposed to feel, but just like my mindset going into the game, I just felt a lot more freer, whereas second row I feel like line out, structure, that sort of thing when I go into a game. But yeah, definitely did like playing Six, but I don't want it to like affect me being a second row, if that makes sense. I'm still like pushing to be like a really good second row, and if that means that I'm going to stay in the row, then that's fine. I'm happy to stay in the row, and I'll do my best to be the best in the row. So
Emily has got you trained up well. That is as straight a bat answer, straight back at the bowler, as I've heard. Good old Emily with her media training. They're just keeping yourselves in an opening selection. Look, let's get to France the weekend then, Zoe. I make it something like only 2 defeats in the last 26 games for England. You're the only fully professional side in the competition. How much pressure does that put on you guys?
I think it puts a lot of pressure on us, to be honest. I think France have looked really good the last couple of games that they've played. Definitely like ball in hand, offloading, that sort of thing. So I think this week is just about concentrating on ourselves and making sure that we put the pressure on them rather than them putting the pressure on us. That's what that's why it's really important for us to go out really hard in those first 10 minutes sort of thing, just so that we can put the pressure on them, because we know once they get playing, then they can play.
Yeah, they really can. That battle against the likes of Safian Diallo, you relishing that? Erme and Ménager's back now as well. You relishing that battle?
Yeah, definitely. I think I just want to go now, to be honest, but yeah, ready for it. Ready for it always.
Oh, great stuff. Look, Zoe, it's been great to have a little catch up with you. Really, really appreciate you coming on the pod. All the best at the weekend, and I hope you enjoy the occasion down at the Stoop. I hope the sun continues to shine.
Thank you.
Great to speak to Zoe. Yeah, we're like sort of coaches, aren't we, Burf? You know, we've got to pick people to come on the pod in form, and she is bang in form.
Yeah, ever since she got back from injury, she had a really tough time out. But ever since she's come back on the pitch, she's been, not just in an English shirt, but in her club colours as well. She's been dominating in the Prem, and that form has gone straight into international duty as well.
Yeah, I hadn't taken a huge amount of notice of her as a player, because I think, we were looking around Abbey Ward, weren't we? And then Poppy was coming there, and Harriet Miller-Mills and stuff. Until Lisa Bird, this is some time ago, Lisa Burgess Bird, put her in her all-time 15. And then she's obviously a player of massive note, and ever since then kept an eye on her. And but as you say, she's come out from injury brilliantly. But England as a whole, Burf, what are they looking to achieve this weekend? Is it win at all costs, or they want to keep developing that style of rugby we've seen in fits and starts, in particular that first 40 against Scotland, that really, really high pace tempo, keeping the ball alive, lots of different power runners coming from different angles?
I think it'll be a win at all costs. It's the championship title. So I think they'll try and do everything that they can. I think they'll select their strongest side that they feel. One of the things they will be focusing on is how they string together that full performance of 80 minutes. We've seen a very good start when they played against Scotland, then it died off, and then, the other way around, came very strong in the second half. And against Italy, the same thing, very strong 40-minute performance. So how they get both ends, the first half and the second half together, because as we've seen, we know that France can punish and run away with a result. So they're going to be focusing on that area, I would have thought.
And what have you made of France? They've taken their opportunities, haven't they, when they've been presented? But just seems that they've come back with a sort of freeness in their thought, and therefore their play.
Yeah, they've definitely continued that form from November, how they played against England at Twickenham. And, England will be focusing on how that was quite a close one for them, and maybe even they were on the little bit of the luck side. So I think, France have been in brilliant form individually. They've been outstanding players. And I think, collectively they've worked really well. They've capitalised on mistakes. Often you can say that France kind of switch off and then they lose their way, they lose their momentum of the game, and then they struggle to get it back. But they've been keeping their foot on the pedal with whatever is in front of them, punishing Wales really early, punishing Ireland very early, and then keeping the foot on the gas is something that's been really, really impressive from them.
Okay, then. I suspect if I know anything about you, you're going to go with your heart, and it's going to be an England win, but by how much?
I think it's going to be really tight. I think, it could literally be 3 points in it between the sides. I think it'll be, nip and tuck between the two. But yeah, I'm going to back England, obviously. That's with my heart. I am worried. I think France are going to come and play. And I think, England need to be on their top form and their top game to beat them.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the selection meeting alone, the back five of that pack, and then what do they do at 10, 12? Well, we know 13, but back three as well. It's a lovely place to be in for Simon Middleton. But yeah, France are beginning to really, really grow that strength and depth as well. Unearthed a few beauties, haven't they? And I'll get this right because it's difficult in commentary. Boujard is on the wing with a scrum cap, and Boulard is the fullback.
Boulard.
And yeah, you
should have asked me. I would have helped you out.
Yeah, right. Bannett played well, didn't she, last weekend? Oh, Cyril Bannett. Darn it. No, she had a good game. But no, it makes for a really, really fab end to this tournament in terms of finding a winner. And okay, we haven't got the full gambit, and we are where we are with that. It's a global pandemic on, but it's just it's going to be a great way to finish the tournament actually, and may actually think, do you know what, perhaps this is something to do going forward, and something just to set the Women's Six Nations apart from the men's.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited for the Super Saturday, as it's being said. I think both you and I are quite traditionalists and would like to have all the other games being played. However, a finals weekend at the end of it, I quite like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the other game, the race for third between Italy and Ireland. And let's get the thoughts of Ireland and Wasp back row now. Edel, Tricky, McMahon. Well, it is a very warm welcome to Edel McMahon to the Women's Rugby Pod. Was an Ireland player. Let's get the important things out of the way first, Edel. How are you? How's the injury?
I'm good. Yeah, injuries coming along well and better than expected. So that's always a positive. I suppose anyone wondering what I actually did to myself, I injured my Liz Frank in the Exeter game. Just caught awkward in a tackle, and classic. Continued to play on with it, thinking it was a sprain I could walk off. So yeah, I'm just out of the boot there this week and learning to walk again. So that's been fun.
Isn't that basically where the bottom of your foot like snaps?
Yeah, it's I've done like a classic me as well. I love research, so I've been Googling everything to do with the Liz Frank and scientific journals and everything you can think of, even how to diagnose it. I was like, I need to know everything about this. But yeah, it's a complex and your foot, an awkward one as well that kind of requires the stability of your leg. So yeah, I was like, don't do anything by halves anyways.
I think physios hate Google nowadays because you always turn up with like, I've got a self-diagnosis, I know how to rehab back, I know that I need this, and they're like, and where did you graduate?
Yeah, no, 100%. I've definitely been annoying the physio about that.
And the other important thing I wanted to ask you about is, and I'm not sure whether you can tell us or not, but why Tricky?
Yeah, it was funny actually. When I was logging on, I was like, will I say Del McMahon or will I put my name as Tricky? Tricky's kind of my rugby name that's followed me since I started my rugby career. My first cap for Galwegians back in Ireland in a team in the AIL. It's a tradition to sing a song on your first away game. And I was so quiet. Like, I think I'd maybe been at 2 training sessions. I was Edel from Clare who turned up in all the GA gear because I didn't own an ounce of rugby clothes either. And I knew the words to It's Tricky back to front. So that's what I sang for my first cap rap, I guess. And the name just stuck, like, because I think it was a Sunday evening. We had a few beers in the bus, had training on a Tuesday, and everyone was like, what's that Tricky girl's name again? And that literally stuck. And I sang it every single time on the way home from a bus, or I'd be caught up on a stage in a bar singing it as well if we were out celebrating or something like that. So it's followed me here.
Oh, brilliant! I mean, I don't know that one. Do you?
Run DMC. Is this you trying to get me to sing it here now?
She's seen through it.
Yeah,
Jenny, no idea how it goes.
I keep it for special occasions now. So
understood. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Not a special enough occasion. Fair enough to you. Look, we got you on today. I'd love to sort of get you on the pod at some other point to go through your career and your journey and what have you. Today, very much specifically looking at obviously the Six Nations is going on at the moment. Let's just touch on WAS securing obviously a semi-final spot. Congrats to you and the rest of the girls. Those are going to be some semi-finals, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a cracker. Like the table has been, blown wide open this year compared to where it was last year. You've got, top 5 teams there competing extra just on the fringes of the semi-finals as well. Yeah, it's been a brilliant year. I think the Sevens girls that have been integrated into the squad and especially into Wasps have really added an element and a flair to our attacking game. And likewise with other teams as well. So it's going to be a really hard grit game, and it's going to be exciting.
Anyone you don't want to meet in the semis? Who do you prefer to meet?
We have Harlequins, so we already know.
Oh, you have Harlequins. You do know. I did know that, didn't I? So it's this COVID vaccination. I'm getting all over the place here. You've got Harlequins. So up against Rachel Burford.
That's it, yeah. Up in the centres there. Hopefully I'll be back for that game now and I'll know to be targeting.
Nice. Well, yeah, look, fingers crossed for the injury. But look, let's concentrate on Ireland. What have you made of the performances? Quite stark difference in the performances so far in the Six Nations.
Yeah, I think, I suppose it's only really come to light because of the media, I guess, this year for the tournament. Like the last couple of years, I know in 2019 we didn't have a great tournament either. Last year it was a great Six Nations for us in terms of we hammered out the goals that we wanted to get 3 home games wins, which we did against Italy, Scotland and Wales. And even against England, I know our attacking performance wasn't where we would have wanted to be. Defensively, we were quite good and stood England 25-0 to end time, which was, I mean, if you reflect that on the France game, is quite a significant difference. But yeah, I don't know if it's probably an extremism if you compare the fantastic win that we had against Wales to the performance against France just the weekend gone. And I think that, you know, media does add an element to that as well. You know, Ireland were massively error driven against France, and you can't make errors against the French, or you can't make errors against the top teams in the world because they will punish you. And that was, you know, the story of the game for Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was surprised, and yeah, you've got to play what's in front of you, and you know, Wales are beginning to start out a journey. I think that's you know, very, very fair to say, with the new management and some new players in there and stuff. But I was really, really pleased the way that Ireland came out of the traps in that first game. And yet, then we, as I say, take it back another week, and performance isn't at that level. Why do you think that was?
Well, I think someone alluded to it really well. You know, again, Wales, again, they're on a journey and they have a lot of learnings to do. And Ireland, you know, played their game and they stuck to their structure for the first 31 minutes of that game. I think for every minute they were playing, they had a point on the board. And then they hit a lull for about a half an hour patch where they fell out of their structure, and they fell out of what they were used to playing. And that kind of came into the French game. You know, they probably not, their standards of basic execution skills dropped. And like even our breakdown decision, our fold, just our carries as well. We were losing people in rucks. I think we had 3 or 4 people in a ruck at one stage, and we were losing people out in an attack. And that was just easy then for France to defend. I think on a couple of occasions as well, we just got unluckily stripped out of a ball and France scored. You know, so it's very hard to, I suppose, compare the two games because, you know, Ireland were so error driven and France punished them. Whereas when they were error driven against Wales, Wales were not able to punish them the way France were. And Ireland certainly had that patch against Wales for about 30 minutes where they didn't score. You know, forcing a pass, forcing the offload, you know, not kind of playing when they had deserved to have, you know, attacking front when they didn't have momentum. But Wales didn't punish them the way France did. So I don't think the Wales game was probably the best preparation coming into France. You know, they certainly learned an awful lot more against that French game than they did against Wales.
What have you made of Ireland so far, Burf?
I think opening stages, everybody was super impressed. I think I've always said it about how they start. You always start really, really well with lots of intent, and you're able to sustain that in that first game for that first kind of 45, 50 minutes. But I think, as you probably mentioned there, sorry that I dropped off there. I think what Ireland struggled to do was to get any momentum back in that game. And because France were very good at, they're a better team at solving problems, what's in front of them very quickly. And then it was almost like Ireland then had no other decisions or no other where to go when France had managed to work them out in certain areas. And I think you talk there about those key learnings and about how you need to be able to adapt again and again and again against an opposition who can work things out, who are stifling your play and stopping that momentum.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is that error count and how a team like France can capitalize on it. We saw they did the exact same against Wales, you know, a couple of errors that Wales made, they're suddenly under the sticks and they're 3 tries up. But I think overall, you know, you've got to look at the way that Ireland are playing generally, the way that they're moving the ball, the athleticism within the side. You can tell the amount of hard work that has gone into all the camps over the weekends, and it's been tough on the players. But yeah, I think we have definitely seen an improvement from the side, and I don't think we saw the best of Ireland.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that French game was not a true reflection of what Ireland are capable of. And like Rachel was saying, like when you make errors like that, and against France, they do it to every team. You saw what they did in the Novembers against England, two lineouts that went wrong for England, and France were straight on that and scored. So, I mean, if the best teams in the world are making those mistakes and France can capitalize on them, I think Ireland have to be, proud that they, I suppose, kept going to the end, and just take the learnings, and that's all they can do coming into Italy, and just put things right for them.
Who's particularly impressed you? Obviously, a lot of media hype around Parsons.
Yes.
Baven Parsons.
Baven, yeah. Actually, a lot of people are asking me how to pronounce that name. I suppose the Irish spelling throws people off. But yeah, she's been brilliant, and she's been phenomenal since the get-go, since her first cap against USA. I think her first touch of the ball, she got held up over the try line. But there is some, really good young talent coming through, and everyone's mentioned her before, is Dorothy Wall. And she'll just grow in confidence each game that she plays. And these are the types of test matches that she needs as well at that top level to figure out where she's at, and to keep going with all the positives that she brings to the game as well. There's off the bench, I thought Stacey Flood was excellent. She's some excellent passes and has good vision in attack. And it'll be interesting to see, the partnership between herself and Hannah Tyrrell and how that works. Stacey's quite young, so she has plenty of years ahead of her. And, Hannah does have an awful lot of experience in the 15s game compared to some of those sevens players. So I thought Stacey was an excellent find as well in that sevens squad. That's probably transitioned very well over to 15s. So.
Well, let's look ahead to this weekend. Italy. Where do you see it going? Where's it going to be won and lost? What have you made of the Italians so far? 3 questions in one. 3, 2, 1.
I thought the Italians have been excellent. Been really impressed with, I suppose, they've probably had the least preparation in terms of all of the teams in the Six Nations, and they've really just come out of the blocks just trying to play rugby. They're trying to get it to the edge. Their wingers are scoring. I think their 13 the last weekend had the most stats for carries. So that's where they're wanting to attack the game. So it's really positive to see them going for it. They're playing very like jouet style of rugby, even against England. They were just unfortunate not to execute on any of their attacking phases, and they made 2 errors, and England scored under the post in that first half. So I think Ireland definitely won't be underestimating the game against Italy. They'll have watched how Italy played against Scotland recently, and how they attacked against France or against England as well. And I think, if Ireland can fix their breakdown and can fix their fluidity around that breakdown on both sides of the ball, I think Ireland should come away with a win against the Italians, but it won't be as easy as it was against the Welsh.
And for you, Burf?
This is
I definitely have a biased head on me.
You could be meeting in the semi-finals soon. Just careful.
Yeah, it's true. Look, I think the way that Italy have been playing, you can't look past that. You can't look past how well they're moving the ball and exploiting space and taking opportunities. It's just, is this the best season that we might have seen Italy play? Are they the most unprepared? Yes. But, I've been really, really impressed with them. And I think what they've worked out is to not try and physically match opposition. And that's why they're keeping the ball and moving it as much as they are. And they're getting great success off it. It's It's really hard.
I love that look.
Yeah. Based on how they're playing, I think Italy this is their best chance, I think, to be able to beat Ireland. There you go. Didn't quite say it.
I said, Burf just said you're not going to win.
Whoa.
She would.
I didn't have to put it out like that.
It's going to be tight, though, isn't it? And that's what we want, and that's what we were hoping from Super Saturday with this sort of standalone Six Nations. And I don't want to go into it's professional and unprofessional, and that's why the gap is. But it actually, this finals day and the way it's set up is kind of perfect for everybody to showpiece, and everybody's got a chance of winning those final games, right?
Exactly. I mean, even it is going to be a Super Saturday, and between England, France, it's going to be a cracking game. Ireland, Italy is going to be an absolute cracking game as well. I mean, if, like you're saying, if Italy start playing with that, offloading game, it's always exciting to watch, whether it comes off or it doesn't. And it's really encouraging to see players play with that and express themselves on the pitch without, falling into very basic, probably boring up the jumper rugby. So it's exciting to watch, and then to see where Wales are at in terms of the Scotland game as well. How well have they kind of fixed things in camp? How have they improved as the Six Nations has gone on? So it'll be interesting to see where they're at as well in terms of the Scotland game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we could carry on talking, but we're whizzing around all the units. I really, really appreciate your time this morning. Great to get your thoughts. Fingers crossed.
Yes,
you're back in time for the end of the season and those unbelievable semi-finals. And thank you very much for your insight this morning. And I'd look forward to hearing Tricky. Cheers. Thank you very much. See you later. Thanks a lot. Well, she's in good form, really upbeat. Obviously, she's got a sort of an eye on the camp. Ireland, then your assessment of them. We spoke just a second ago, didn't we, about how difficult that game is going to be, certainly to call anyway. But have Ireland moved on? I guess that's with non-professional teams in the Six Nations. That's what I'm kind of looking for. Is have these teams moved on from last year? Okay, we've got one game left, but have Ireland moved on, and if so, where?
I think it's quite difficult to compare from this year to last year, considering the year that the world has had. So, the preparation, etc. Have we seen them move on? I don't know. And I think it's the same in the Welsh camp and in the Scotland camp. I think they've obviously had a limited amount of time together. And have we seen improvements? We've seen some improvements, absolutely. Have we seen new players coming in? We've already spoken about Parsons. I think Higgins was outstanding as well. And so I think, have they developed new players? Have they managed to utilise some of their sevens players into their programme to strengthen it? Yes. But are we seeing, full performances and changes in that area? You could arguably say yes against Wales. There was a significant difference in how they played in that first half, I would say. But then being able to sustain that and continue that, and then be able to take that on to another opposition, they haven't been able to do. So I think it's difficult to compare. I think that you're always going to have slight improvements, but have we probably seen? But is it in the place to be able to make the difference that everybody's expecting? I think, and I will just touch on Wales here. I think everybody put so much expectation that there's suddenly going to be this new look team, and I did it. I had huge expectations on them, when reality is, not much has changed. Yeah. On the ground, it has. Yeah. Because you've been away, you haven't had that time together, and the time you do have together, especially in those sort of non-professional environment, it's really tricky to get stuff done, and especially if you've got a new management and what have you. No, I was impressed with a few individuals, and actually, on paper, Ireland are a really nice looking side. I mean, we took one of your chums, a Harlequins, Anna Capeless. I mean, she was one of the players of the Six Nations last season, not getting a sniff, and that's sad for Anna, but shows the kind of strength and depth in that area. So they are beginning to get more depth beyond the 15, which I think has probably been
an area where they've struggled in the past. So, what? Come on, then, match point predictor genius. Who's going to win?
I'm going to say Italy. Or will
By
it be too much for them? By 12.
Game. Italy by 12. Okay. So if you're involved in the match point predictor, want to get some points, go away from that scoreline.
See, I'm just setting everybody up.
To bring you up to date with all the news from the oval world, and this week comes in association with Rugby Coffee. By bringing ethical source coffee to the global rugby market via their online shop, Rugby Coffee aims to give kids around the world opportunities to play rugby and help uplift their lives through their charity partners. This is coffee with a cause. So thank you very much, Rugby Coffee. I'll send you some, Burf.
Yes, please. You know me and coffee.
They can send you some. But you're not a grinder, are you? That
I have got a grinder.
You've got one or on? Sorry.
Where's the pod going this week?
Yeah, indeed. So good to have you back.
She's dropped the standards.
Absolutely. No, so it's good gear actually. No, the guys will get some over to you. But yeah, do check them out. The promotion code there is WRP10 for 10% off your first order. It's really, really good stuff. And yeah, it's in supporting rugby charities as well. So it's all win, 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 win. Anyway, on to that news then, Burf.
Yeah, so we've got some great news. Blues Women versus Chief Women's, the first ever Super Rugby women's team. It's going to be taking place on the 1st of May at no other than Eden Park.
Yeah, and I mean, what do our listeners down in New Zealand think? Do you think all the franchises should start up women's teams? I guess most of them will say yes. Alice Soper will probably have something to say about it in 60 seconds with 4,000 words. But yeah, look, get in touch. What do you think of that? Is it something for the future of them? It's almost like a super women's rugby. That'd be quite cool down there, wouldn't it? Anyway, the Super League up here in England, the Premier 15s. What a weekend of rugby it was. Nail biters and upsets. The top four cemented: Saracens, Quins, Wasps, and Loughborough. But plenty more to play for. Exeter and Gloucester Harbury fighting it out for a top half finish on the 8th of May, and Sale catching Bristol. So the results from the weekend: Bristol DMP, first win of the season for DMP. I personally are absolutely stoked for them.
Yeah, me too. The fact that it's near the end of the season and it's an easy place to kind of just give up and go with emotion. That the fact that, that's a huge win for them. And yeah, really pleased. And, Beth Blackwood had an absolute outstanding game and kind of led the troops. And yeah, really pleased for them to get that win.
Yeah, both who we've had on the pod, a couple of tries there, and end up with a 34-17 win. Well done them. Sale Exeter, brilliant scenes at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, really, really pleased for Sale Sharks. I think, for all money, everybody probably expected that Exeter were going to win and going to win convincingly. And then, for the game to kind of be heading for a draw and then get that brilliant intercept try was unbelievable. What a way to finish, and just really pleased. And there's a lot of photos going around on social media of the pure joy on their faces that, to get that win against the team who has been beating. Let's remind everyone they've been beating the top teams in this league. Battle against the two teams who are new into the league as well. And you can just tell how much that meant to Sale.
Yeah, well done, Holly Bowden and the rest of the Sale Sharks. Hell of an intercept that was. Loughborough against Saracens. A hell of a ding-dong, this one. 29-38 in the end to the champs. Loughborough did salvage a bonus point to keep them clear of Exeter and secure that 4th spot. But yeah, hell of a game.
Yeah, it's always a ding dong between those two, isn't it? But historically, it's been a little bit tighter. It was, quite interesting this weekend. Obviously, a lot of internationals were away and not a part of it. So, great for the side to put out some players that they may not have got as many minutes and to get that result. That's a big scoreline against Loughborough. And is that going to be possibly the team that play against each other in the semi-final?
Yeah. Other semi-final team, Wasps, scraped past Gloucester Hartpury, 25-20. Hannah West with a little try, with 7 minutes left on the clock, clinched that victory. But yeah, a really close run thing, and that's good from Gloucester Hartpury because they've been missing, obviously Mo's out and Zoe Aldcroft, two. I mean, just those two alone, two very, very influential players for them. It's good performance for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people would have expected Wasp to run away with this result, and the sheer fact that they stuck in it and it, very close towards the end, says a lot about the side. And we've talked so much about how that team has been developing and getting better throughout the season, because we do say it is a young team. There is a lot of young players in that side, but they're strong club players and they're not too disrupted by the internationals. And yeah, I think they'll be really pleased. That obviously you always want to win the games, but to run a team close like that, who have been kind of putting double figures on most teams throughout the season, I think they'll be really pleased on the way that their season is finishing off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the standout headline, big flashing lights, neon from the Harlequins Worcester game was the return of Captain Fantastic.
Ah, yeah, me.
Yeah, that's you. Captain Fantastic. You forgot to put suntan cream on. But no, you ran out winners 31-7. They scored first, didn't they?
They did, for an intercept try, right, kind of like 2 or 3 minutes in. Not our best start, let's put it that way. But yeah, no, really, really proud of the performance. We had a lot of players away, as did other teams. So we needed a lot of our players to step up to the mark and deliver, and they absolutely did that. It was a young and inexperienced side, a couple of people out of position. We had 2 new debuts as well who kind of only just started training with us late in this season. So really, really good squad performance. And to get the win, a convincing win, we really struggled against them when we played away at Worcester. So to put a convincing scoreline on them like that was really, really impressive from us.
Nice. Yeah, and then the league returns 8th of May for the final round. And then we're into semis and finals. But yeah, the top 4 cemented in. So yeah, what incredible semi-finals they are going to be. Olympic news.
Yeah, just flipping over to the sevens of Olympics. So the officials have now been selected for the Olympic Games. 8 women in total: Sarah Cox, Amy Perrett, Holly Davison, Tyler Miller, Lauren Jenner, Madeline Putz, is that? Talika Winiata and Julian Zusman have all been selected. So congratulations to all of you.
Talika Winiata. She's about the only ref in the world who'd actually keep up with play. She on a day.
British staff as well.
Oh yeah, the Horton. He was it. Mike Adamson as well, I suppose. Yeah, but yeah, no, good to get those. Only less than 100 days away now, isn't it? Let's just flip back to Six Nations. If you weren't aware, it'd probably be remiss if we don't mention it, of course, or certainly give you the details. It was a 41-20 victory for Italy over Scotland. Yeah, a couple of tries. Scotland really recover from those couple of early tries. Rigoni just doing what Rigoni does. Love her as a player. I think she's great. Scotland really impressive to fight back on that try just before half time. Kind of sealed the deal and one after as well. Forlan with a hat trick. So well done her. Ireland, France, scrappy first 10 minutes of both teams struggling to find a good flow. But after a well-executed try from the superstar winger and current top try scorer, Caroline Boujard, the French never really looked back and led 38-8 at half time. And the likes of Boulard, India, I thought was fab. Your chum, Barnett, was really, really good. I thought Ireland looked kind of shell-shocked a little bit at times. but France playing with a real freedom. It was a joy to watch at times. This weekend, then, it's finals weekend. So, these are your details for the weekend. Ireland against Italy, 12 o'clock. BBC iPlayer. That is the battle for third. The championship game, as it were. England against France, 2 o'clock. Live on BBC Two. Fair play to you, BBC. Well done. And on BBC iPlayer, got to give credit where credit's due. And then the battle for fifth, Scotland against Wales. Again, on BBC terrestrial television up in Scotland and the iPlayer. That's 5 o'clock kickoff from Scotstoun. Rachel Malcolm, Scotland, injured captain, commentating on that one. Alongside yours truly. So, yeah, certainly looking forward to that. That is all your news. You are up to date. Well, let's hear from that third game of the weekend. Let's hear from the Scotland captain, filling in for Rachel Malcolm. Friend of the pod, Helen Nelson. Let's get her thoughts ahead of that game against Wales. It is a very warm welcome to Helen Nelson.
Hello.
Scotland. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
We're very well. The sun is shining down here in lovely Hampshire. It's always sun shining down here. Is the sun shining in Scotland?
It's a little grey today, but last week we were okay, so I can't complain.
Great stuff. Good stuff. Helen, we got you on the pod. I know you've been on before, and we're sort of talking around things that time, but today is very much about the Six Nations. Obviously, it's standalone, all by itself, and obviously we're focusing on that for the podcast. So we'll just dive straight in, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Great stuff. What have you made of your team's performances so far? Marks out of 10, and where the polish needs to be applied.
I think we've shown glimpses of what we can do in attack and defence, but it's just kind of that full 80 minutes that we're struggling with. I think in both games, England and Italy, we've struggled in the first half. We've struggled in the first 20 minutes, and that's kind of let us down because we're then giving ourselves a big margin to make up. So I think going forwards, it's going to be focusing on that first half performance, getting ourselves in a better place that we can then build on. So yeah, like not all negative, but I think we've got bits to work on, bits to look at.
Yeah, I guess two things come out of that, and it was a question I was going to ask anyway. The fact you brought it up, it's just how important is that start going to be come the weekend? Yeah,
really important. I think for us as well, if we start well in a game, it helps us build confidence and belief into the game. But at the same time, mistakes do happen, so you can't put too much emphasis on that in case something doesn't go our way the first, say, 10 minutes and then heads go down. So it's kind of, trying to get a good start, but also not putting like loads and loads of emphasis on that as the be all and end all, because obviously against Italy, we went 12-0 down and then we got ourselves back to 12-10. So we can get back into games. We know that. But ideally, we don't let in 2 tries in the first kind of 10 minutes.
Yeah, it would certainly help, wouldn't it? But yeah, as you say, you claw right back on that try just before half time. It's those championship minutes, isn't it? Pre and post half time that didn't quite go your way. We've spoken not just with you, but with Jade and other Scotland internationals about, and even Goose as well, about putting that 80-minute performance together. What it's obviously conscious in your mind as a group and as an individual, one of those leaders within the side. What are you doing to try and get that 80-minute performance? What can you do?
I think it's about recognising momentum in a game, and maybe I think we're a little naive at times when we don't have momentum, and it's making good decisions at that time. So if we haven't had the ball for 10, 15 minutes, how can we ensure that we get ball and we keep hold of it and kind of get everyone on the same page, because obviously you can't score points if you don't have the ball. And I think it helps to build our confidence as well when we get through the phases and we build some phases. So I think starting small, we talk a lot about 80 minutes, but it's about kind of breaking it down into, say, the first 20 minutes, and then, right, that's gone well, let's build up and build up. So I think we do have the ability for a full 80 minute performance, but it's about kind of breaking that up and making it more manageable.
Yeah, because a game of international rugby is going to ebb and flow. You're not always going to have the rub of the green, are you? And I guess it's managing those parts. But over the last 12 months, 18 months, patches of games have been some really, really impressive rugby. Are you very, very determined and very, very sure that you're going in the right direction?
Yeah, absolutely. I think individually and also as a team, we're all getting better all the time. And I think this campaign especially, there's been some young girls really step up, and that's so promising, because if you kind of look at the names that are missing from this squad at the moment, there's some big names. But then I look at the young girls who've stepped up, like your Evie Gallagher's, and then Evie Wills and Corrine Grant, who won their first caps at the weekend. They would probably wouldn't be getting as much game time if we had everyone kind of fit and available at the moment. So I think it's really positive from our depth point of view, moving up into like a World Cup year next year. That's going to be vital.
Yeah, 100%. I think the way I've been watching all the teams, probably outside of England and France, because they're professional, they should get better. It is how much better sides are developing each game, and we've said on this pod a lot and very strongly that Scotland is very much on an upward trajectory. So, with a little bit of depth coming now and striving for that 80-minute performance, talk us about the preparations for the weekend.
Yeah, so this it's been a good kind of couple of days, actually. Usually after an international, we would play the match and then all disperse for a couple of days and then come back into camp. But because of COVID, we've stayed in for this 2-week block. So we had Sunday and Monday all together, when usually we wouldn't. And we had a really thorough kind of unit and team analysis session and debrief, and really honest conversations, which I think normally people do analyse the game, but it's separately. It's different when you're all in a room together and you can really pick it apart and ask, what were you thinking in this moment? So that has been very, very beneficial. I know it's quite cliched to say that we'll learn from a loss like Saturday, but I think we really will. So yeah, we did a big analysis on the Italy game, and then kind of drawn a line under that, and now just looking ahead to Wales. So yeah, I'm really excited for this weekend. I think we are in a good place after Saturday, so should be good.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, you're right, because if you go away and do your analysis, you're going to hide away, can't you? If you're that kind of person. But actually, there in front of the group, that must be incredibly beneficial. So Wales, very much starting out on a journey. I think you guys are. I think it's fair to say 2 or 3 steps down the road of that journey. They're very much starting out a new regime. But they've shipped 98 points in 2 games. Foregone conclusion, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, Johnny. It's Test match rugby. But no,
Exactly.
look, on paper, I think Wales. It's a nice side. All 23 from the France game playing in the Premier 15s. What a quality competition that is. And they've had more time together. That they will get better. Where are going to be the major battlegrounds for you?
I think Wales are traditionally always a very physical side. No matter who's playing for them in that 23, they're going to bring physicality at the contact and at the breakdown. So definitely expecting that from them. And again, their backs, the likes of Hannah Jones and Jazz Joyce, they're dangerous players. And I think they are looking to play more than they have in the past. They're looking to kind of use their backs more and play to the wide channels. So although they haven't had the best campaign so far. As you say, I don't think it is a foregone conclusion. I think they'll be firing at the blocks as well. So we'll just make sure that we're ready for that.
Helen, what constitutes success come 7 o'clock Saturday? It's a goodie, isn't it? It's a toughie.
Yeah, that is.
Uh-huh.
To be honest,
is it about result? Purely get the win, finish 5th, at home, BBC Scotland, all the rest of it, or is it about that development, which clearly you're very much on?
Yeah, I mean,
a bit of both.
A bit of both. It is about development, and obviously, this isn't like our end game. The thing we're building towards is the World Cup qualifiers. Like that is where we want to be.
Of course.
So it's not be all and end all winning on Saturday, but I think putting out, as we talked about, that 80-minute performance and getting a win, I think would do huge things for our confidence and our belief as a squad.
There you are. There's the soundbite right there. I know, and also great honour to the. I know there's lots been talked about broadcasts and stuff, but it's on. I understand it's on BBC Scotland. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's great as well, isn't it? Just generally for the exposure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the support we've been getting, although obviously there's no fans in the stadiums at the moment, the support we're getting from social media has been absolutely incredible, and like really feel that people are behind us and almost making more effort to show that they are behind us. And yeah, being on BBC Scotland at 5 p.m. on Saturday, like it's a huge opportunity for us.
Awesome. Well, I hope you take the opportunity with both hands. Yeah, I'll see you up there as I'm on the mic. But yeah, all the very, very best of luck. I really do mean that. And thank you so much for joining us again on the WRP. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Johnny. Cheers.
Cheers. Take care. See you the weekend. Bye. And Helen's right there, Burf, in chatting. I think she speaks very, very clearly, and obviously enjoying stepping up to a bit more of that leadership role with the likes of Jade and Rachel Malcolm not being around at the moment. But it's putting that 80-minute performance together in a different way, but similar to England, really. Yeah, they have put in some spells of some really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it's a similar story, isn't it? It's like the spells are really good parts that, you know, I know that will be frustrating them that they can't kind of back them up, you know, go back to back with good spells, because that's when they can punish teams and push teams and close teams out. Let's think about how they played against France that time when they got that brilliant draw against them. You know, they kept the pressure on, they kept applying it. But we haven't seen that kind of spark and that energy, and you just wonder, you know, the likes of Jade, Conco and Rachel Malcolm not in there, that, you know, they lack that side of it a little bit more. And, you know, it's going to be a big game for both teams this weekend. You know, Wales are going to be wanting to try and rectify, improve a lot and pull a lot of things right. They've had a lot of criticism coming their way. And equally so have Scotland. So it's going to be a big battle between the two.
Yeah, what will Wales be hoping to get out of it, Burf?
Well, I think that they'll be believing that they can go for a win. They'll probably feel that they're on the same level footing as Scotland. I think they did not expect Ireland to play the way and start the way they did. You know, the biggest thing for Wales is they need to start well. In the last two games, they've started really poorly early, and then suddenly they're trying to chase a game within the first 10 minutes because they're 2 tries down. So I think they're going to be looking to how they start. And how they can try and keep themselves in the game and applying pressure on the opposition. Yeah,
I'm absolutely with you. I think that start is hugely important for both mentally for Wales, psychologically for Wales, and Scotland. You know, didn't really come back from that start from Italy. It took them so much to get back in the game that kind of didn't have much left. So your prediction for that then, Burf?
When you look on paper, both teams are, you know, they're relatively even.
Yeah.
So it's
good.
So much talent, so much individual talent. I'm going to back Scotland.
Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me. Tea went down the wrong way. Yeah, okay. By how much?
By 8.
8. Okay, I won't do that as my match point predictor. Because you're nowhere. You are nowhere, Burford. In the WRP League, Dylan Patel leads the way. Congratulations to Dylan. Just ahead.
Dylan.
No, you're not.
It's a false count.
No, we've checked. No, we've checked your email address, and it's not referenced. Ahead of some chap called Gary Street. He's in second. He's quite. Yeah, he's quiet down now. He was crying after the first week. Yeah, he's got a lot quieter now. Yours truly in third. Thank you very much. Alongside Sean.
You fix it, don't you?
What's that?
You fix it, don't you?
Prove it. Alongside our very own Sean Feeling. Burf, you're just keeping an eye on things down the bottom end, just down in 31st at the moment. So it's good of you to,
Yeah, but I'm just opening the doors for other people to be, at the top.
Yeah. It's like going for a long walk or a ski or a cycle. You have someone at the back looking after everyone, and that's very good of you. In the Legends League, Burf, you're down in 13th, but not to worry, I'm still holding up our end as WRP representative. I'm in third in that one as well. But 15 points behind Kerry Large. Who knew Kerry Large was a match predictor? Hey?
She likes Guinness. There you go.
There you are.
There you go. That's incentive there for her.
Massive incentive. There's better news for you, Burf, on the fantasy team. You're up a couple of places, up to 5th. Well done to Sarah BW, who tops our league. Not quite sure who Sarah is, but one final round left. Emerson is no longer in top spot. Yes. So well done to Sarah BW. I'm down in 8th, but I'm getting to get you this round because I've had technical issues the last couple of weeks.
Oh, here comes the excuses.
Yeah. Well, I went in with one game without any second rows. So anyway, did particularly well. But yeah, I'll catch you on that one as well. But the predictor's the main one, isn't it? I think we'll all agree. Anyway, another fascinating round.
Pick what suits. That's how it rolls. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm winning that one. Let's focus on that one.
Yeah. Exactly so. Anyway, fascinating round of that still to go. TWRP is our league code for the Match Point Predictor. And do get involved in the Fantasy League as well. Well, another absolutely packed pod comes to an end, Burf. It's been a great show. Really, really busy again. But, while the sun is shining, let's make hay. And hopefully we've done that through the course of this Six Nations. Must just say next week, we're choosing our Six Nations team of the tournament. That should be fun.
Really tough.
Really, really tough. In association like we did last year with Scrum Queens, and Ali Donnelly's going to come on. And should we get a green light and permission from the Bubba C, from Auntie, then Sarah Orchard will be joining us as well. She has been commentating on lots of the games as well. So that will be great. But let's finish up with a few shout-outs, Burf.
Yeah, so just Zimbabwe Rugby Union, the Unstoppable Women in Rugby, providing women with level 1 courses in coaching and officiating. So, again, helping grow the game around the world.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? In Zimbabwe, it's just not an area you think rugby has got a foothold, but with activities like that, certainly going to get one. New Zealand Rugby Museum launched her story, an exhibition dedicated to women's rugby and showcasing the rise from the beginning to where the game is now. Some great footage coming out from that as well down in New Zealand.
And Weybridge Vandals, Johnny's club for over 40 years, is hosting a women's inner warrior camp on Saturday, the 24th of April, 10 till 3. Please arrive at Brown Acres. The ground is an island on the Thames at 9:30 a.m. Worcester RFC women's team are holding theirs on the 3rd of May, 7 till 9. Contact Benny if you wish to attend at worcesterwomenrfc@gmail.com. Brilliant initiative to get involved in rugby.
100%. Go the Vandals. Fact and on Verba. And former Harlequins player, lady you'll know, Hollywood, formerly Myers, had her first appointment as an assistant referee for the Bristol DMP game following her retirement from the game last year. I think it was playing career cut short, wasn't it, by COVID? She was at Stade Toulousain, and now she's on the whistle. But well done to her. And she has given us a message because we're a little bit close to her. There's a few rather close connections, but she encourages anyone who wants to get involved in the game from an alternative perspective to get involved in refereeing. So there, from the horse's mouth, from Holly. But that's, as I say, about it for another week. Burf. Next week, as I say, choosing our Six Nations team of the round with Ali Donnelly at Scrum Queens and Sarah Orchard. But just to remind you of those fixtures at the weekend. Super Saturday from the Six Nations at 12 o'clock. It is Italy against Ireland, live on the BBC iPlayer. At 2 o'clock, it is England against France on BBC Two in the BBC iPlayer. And then rounding off the day, the battle for fifth is Scotland against Wales, BBC Two Scotland and the BBC iPlayer as well. Do get involved in the Match Right Predictor if you fancy the Fantasy League as well. You get a little time just to see how well you do in the rounds, because it's all done by rounds as well, and actually interesting to see who's done well in what round. But the Match Right Predictor, TWRP, I should say. TWRP if you want to get involved in that one. But it's a huge thanks to all of our guests today, to Zoe Aldcroft, to Helen Nelson, and to Edel McMahon. Tricky. Almost got us to sing that song, almost next time. We'll get her next time. A big thank you to Rugby Nut, to Izzy, to Harry, to Jenny, to Sean, and to Emerson. Thank you to you, Burf. Good to have you back on the pod. Good to have you back on the field. Enjoy Super Saturday.
And you, Johnny. Go well on commentating.
I will do my very, very best to represent it in the best light. But we will see you next week.
Take care.